When I grew up, I had the game called Quake. And on my screen there was the Quake.exe. And you double click it, and all of a sudden you are in the game, and you'd click multiplayer, and there was a list of servers to choose from. And you double click on the server you like, and as long as someone else from anywhere around the world did the same, you were playing together with that person. And there was no chaperone, there was no one to listen in on the conversation, there were no rules, there were no code of conduct. It was just that. Two people playing a game, like talking on the phone. You know, when you call your grandma on the phone, allegedly, there is no person from the phone company listening in. There is no person from the government listening in on your phone. Like, that would be a violation of privacy, wouldn't it? Well, unfortunately, gaming is not like talking on the phone anymore. You see, people talking to each other is now considered harmful and dangerous. And as such, we need corporations to check in what people are discussing online. And when you log on to a game, it's not just clicking a .exe now. No, you need to first enter the launcher. You have to put your username and password, give them access to your email account. In some cases, even your phone number for the two-step authentication thing. And only then are you allowed to log in and play. And sometimes even when you log in and play, you need to put another username, another password. And as we can see, when you log in and play, even in games like Minecraft, which used to work back in the day the way I described it, even in those games now you have a code of conduct. You have to make sure that you say certain things and you avoid saying others. You need to check what is allowed and what isn't allowed with the corporation that is now giving you the ability to play. It's not even your game anymore in many cases. You're just borrowing the rights to play the game as the company allows you, in exchange usually for your $70, followed by your many microtransaction purchases. So we saw Ubisoft that is threatening gamers to call the cops on them. And now we have Call of Duty, which is taking the next leap forward. I love the expression. This is from their official account. The Great Leap Forward was a communist initiative in China which killed millions of people. But it makes people think of authoritarianism, basically, and poor central planning. And this is what Call of Duty is doing now. It's taking the next leap forward in its commitment to combat toxic and disruptive behavior with in-game voice chat moderation. So, in other words, this is not grassroots. Like, it's not the community that decides what is acceptable or not. It's the corporation which decides what you can and can't say in your own house. So, even if you were to play with a friend of yours on a private server, which I don't even think those things exist anymore, like the word privacy is being completely eliminated from the internet. But even if you were to play with a friend of yours and you were to have like some banter, the AI could decide what you are and aren't allowed to say. In other words, it's social engineering, right? So, for example, if the company wants you to not misgender people, right? Because you're erasing trans folk if you misgender, it can ban you from doing so. Because now the AI actually understands what you're talking about. But at the same time, if you want to erase Christianity by saying there is no God, and you're being very offensive towards other Christians who may believe that, well, I live a very pious life, I fast, I don't have sex before marriage because Jesus is there, right? And when you say that Jesus isn't there, you're erasing Christianity. Well, the company can allow that. If you're being disrespectful towards Muhammad, they may choose not to allow it. In other words, the company gets to social engineer your children. They get to decide what your children can and can't say. They get to decide what your children can or can't think while they're playing Call of Duty. And on top of that, they're also harvesting the information, the data that your children have while playing. So imagine like your child ends up being a politician or a CEO. What's to stop someone, like a reporter, from going to Activision Blizzard, going into the archives, and then finding out what they used to say when they were a kid online? Like maybe they were a furry when they were at the age of 16 and they will be like, we got him. And then they use that to blackmail. That's what the Soviet Union did on its citizens. Like they would have huge folders of every person. And obviously, like, they wouldn't be able to go through everyone's file and make sure that, everyone was behaving the way the Communist Party wanted people to behave. But they didn't have to. It was only when someone was in a position of power, like, let's say they managed to become a prosecutor, a judge, a politician, and then they would bring up the folder. Now, we are to believe that these companies, which are for profit, would never sell the data. We are to believe that none of their employees may create a security breach. We have to believe that they will never be hacked and all the information they have stored isn't going to be taken away. Like, we have to believe that your children aren't going to be used to train the new AI so that they can make money on a game that you already paid $70 on. Like, you have to believe all of these things are just done in order to eliminate toxicity from a video game. Boy, are people mentally challenged. They literally deserve this. Like, if I was there, I would just not use their voice chat at all. Like, just use something else. I don't know, use Discord. At least not give them money. Give Discord cash. You know, like, just on principle, do not give these gaming companies money. Like, when you're playing video games, just use something, use anything else. Have your phone on speaker with Discord or whatever other program you want, and just don't give them money. Like, if you punish individual companies like this, they will stop doing it. If you consent, then they will do it more. So they're going to initiate a beta rollout, and they have the technology to establish better real-time rejection of harmful language. Voice chat moderation is managed and operated by Activision, uses AI-powered model ToxBot from Modulate. The system is integrated into Call of Duty Tiles, see below. It's going to do moderator. Does voice chat moderation enforcement happen in real time? And apparently yes, with the system categorizing and flagging toxic language based on the Call of Duty Code of Conduct. Detected violations of the code may require additional reviews of associated recordings. As the system, in other words, like someone is going to listen to your kid online. You really must trust that person, right? Oh, of course you do, because it's from a company. Like, in the history of humanity, corporations never did anything immoral. As the system grows, our process and response time will evolve. Does the system ban trash talk? The system helps enforce the existing code of conduct, which allows for trash talk and friendly banter. Hate speech, discrimination, sexism, and other types. Yeah, so basically, it's subjective, right? Like, they get to decide what is trash talk and what isn't, not based on what you and your friend thinks. So, in other words, if I have a black friend, which is trash talking with me and calls me a cracker, my friend gets banned, right? Because the system gets to decide that wasn't trash talk. Anyway, disgusting. What can I say? Absolutely horrible, disgusting company with disgusting practices. If only Activision Blizzard had this system on their higher-ups. That's interesting, though. Do you think that the shareholders and the stakeholders of this company have this AI on their phone? Why not? Why don't they? You know, like the CEO of Activision, why doesn't he have this AI on his phone to make sure that he doesn't say toxic things? Isn't that fascinating, right? Like, it's always that these diversity initiatives are just for the underlings, for the peasantry. Like, you notice that the CEO never goes to these diversity retreats that their employees have to go through in order to teach them to be less racist? He never has to have an AI that's going to check his emails and check his correspondence and check everything. Funny how that is. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.